As a magical practitioner, I frequently need to cleanse spaces, items, and people. A common technique for cleansing is to burn something and use the smoke to dispel negativity. People have been using smoke to cleanse spaces for at least 3,000 years that we know of, with easy-to-find evidence from the Vedic texts and from ancient Egypt. Despite any proof, many people on the web believe that the ancient Druids used smoke cleansing, which makes the point that smoke cleansing is such a simple and effective method for dispelling negativity that it's easy to believe that ancient people who had herbal knowledge and knew how to burn things must have done it. There is evidence in Ireland going back to 1314 of burning things for purification. Perfumes were originally fumigations from the word parfumum, meaning for smoke. As recently as World War I, thyme was burned in hospitals as an antiseptic. As far as technique, placing herbs on hot coals is the most universal. And it's widely believed the incense crosses the realms by lifting the power of the herbs to the spirits. This is a powerful statement and explains why it is so commonly accepted that incense can carry our prayers to the gods. We see evidence of burning things to make offerings to the gods going way back, with the archaeological evidence suggesting that the practice is significantly prehistoric. The burning of herbs is a significant and powerful practice. There is a Native American technique used in a similar way called smudging. As a person whose ancestors have only been in this country for about 150 years, is it cultural misappropriation for me to smudge? That's a serious question which is relevant to those of us who burn herbs to cleanse things. The word smudge has an interesting history in the English language, primarily as something dirty or smoky, but it was never used in connection with anything, even remotely spiritual, until it was used to describe the Indigenous American practice. There are those who claim that smudging is not cultural misappropriation, so we're going to take a moment to show their perspective. Smudge is an old word, it's English, and it wasn't until 1908 that the word was used in reference to the Native American practice. And it's also a really cool word, and people like the word. It's descriptive to what we're doing. Burning herbs smudges the line between solid and ethereal. Plus, it's not like burning herbs for cleansing is unique to Native Americans. Aromatic herbs have been used by pretty much every culture at some point. As for specifically talking about sage, Europeans have burned sage for a long time. White sage just happens to be the local variety. And it's readily available from many commercial growers for those who argue that it's sourced in a way that's making it endangered. However, we are spiritual people. Spiritual people tend to also be those who meditate. Studies show that meditation stimulates areas of the brain linked with compassion. Given that there's this correlation between being spiritual and being compassionate, let's embrace our compassion as we look at the Native American perspective. Many Indigenous Americans were stripped of their culture and lost their own words for their practices, so they have adopted the word smudging. The modern usage of the term is a direct reference to the Indigenous American practice and not to earlier etymologies. It is a part of some closed Indigenous American spiritual practices to burn sage, cedar, and sweetgrass. Non-Indigenous people are commercializing and utilizing similar practices in superficial forms. This can be seen as trivializing and disrespecting the rituals and beliefs of an oppressed people, as well as perpetuating stereotypes, reinforcing power imbalances, and contributing to the ongoing marginalization and erasure of Indigenous cultures. We also need to distinguish between cultural appropriation and cultural misappropriation. People have been appropriating from other cultures for as long as there have been different cultures, so it's easy to dismiss cultural appropriation as a significant concern. However, cultural misappropriation is far more serious. Throughout history, it has often been the case that the oppressed have had to fight to retain their culture and identities. Cultural misappropriation is when the culture of an oppressed people is appropriated by someone who is not part of their culture, nor part of their struggle to retain their cultural identity. Debates about cultural misappropriation began in academic circles in the late 1970s, but didn't become part of the general cultural debate until the 1990s. But even then, it was just the initial idea of considering things. It wasn't until the 2010s that we really saw the popular emergence of taboos and social penalties. This is relevant because non-Indigenous people, well-meaning New Agers and such, began referring to smoke cleansing techniques as smudging in the 1970s, and it became popular in the early 1990s. That was before the concept of cultural misappropriation gained mainstream acknowledgement. As a result, many of us had innocently imprinted on the term. Not using the term after imprinting on it requires a change, and change is challenging for most people. We can expect that there might be struggles around this. I can honestly say, I am trying and I'm doing my best. It's a cool word and I like it, so even though I'm the one making this video, I admit that I also struggle to always remember. If we're looking for a middle ground, trying to work with people where they are, maybe we could just try to remember to call it saging or smoke cleansing instead of smudging, and use options other than wild harvested white sage. That seems like a reasonable compromise. So let's do our best and try to avoid cultural misappropriation.